a quorum if you want to get
We
started.
have a
Katie.
quorum. Yeah, I'm wondering if we want to go ahead and get started just out of respect
with Larry.
for time because he's joining us to answer a few questions. So Jennifer, you're on for roll.
Yep.
Yep.
I got you guys.
And I guess, do we want to just take 1 minute and say, did everybody have a chance to look at the minutes from our last?
I mean, probably not because I sent them pretty late last night.
Has anyone actually seen the minutes?
Yes, I saw.
I sent minutes last night.
All right. Well, do we want to table that for some future discussion? Or do we want to go ahead and?
Sure.
Okay. Well, in that case, we'll move on. The first order of business today is that Larry Chapman has joined us. We had some questions raised at our last meeting about the proposal for the Douglas Hill development and what that was going to mean for the community and also for the sculpture park. And Larry has offered to come and meet with us and address some of those concerns and sort of give us an update on where they are. So Larry, I don't know if you want to.
I'm happy to start. Thanks for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you. I hope there wasn't any miscommunication before. When it comes to the Douglas Hill development, there's a lot of moving parts still, and we're just now starting the public zoning process with the city. In fact, there's a P&Z meeting on June the 7th, which I think everybody can attend by Zoom. I don't know when the in-person ones are going to start again. So we're looking forward to that. When it comes to the area where the sculpture park is now, I look at that as an opportunity, not only there, but everywhere within the development to expand, the City of Arts, because it's part of the signature of the city. And, one of the things we're doing throughout the development is to make the public spaces, whether it's sidewalks along the street or the Riverwalk component or what we call the gathering space, which I'm sure we'll find a name for soon as we put some more definition on exactly what's going to be there. There's ample opportunity to do more art, more sculptures, more things of that nature than the opposite. That component, and then we have a number of people on our team that are going to help tell the history of the area, and we'll do that through physical improvements as well as written information. And so to us, we see it as a great way to tell stories and to improve the area than not. My wife and her friend have a piece of art down on that area. I wouldn't get rid of it for the world, but we might talk about moving it, and we won't do any of that without this group of people being at the table. We don't want to pretend in any way we have the ability to just decide what we're going to do. We don't. But we do have some goals and objectives. One of those is to create an area where we can have the Jazz Fest and other, amphitheater kind of like events. And that's the way we plan to design it as we go up the hill. You may remember that the property has a lot of topography. Well, that topography, as you go from the north end of the site south, goes up, and it's a great opportunity to create seating and create areas for people to sit and watch a stage. It also creates a big spot sort of between where the sculpture park is now, going toward what we're calling Main Street, to create an area that can have, art festivals, farmers markets, things of that nature. But then when it's not in an active event, it's just a nice place for people to gather and meet and hang out. So that's really what we're after. It's a city garden-esque kind of thinking. We don't have a real complete design at this point, but we'll develop one. We need to get in agreement with the city about what the development itself is and can be, and then we can do the details along with that. But rest assured, we're not going to do that, at least as it impacts the sculpture garden, without whoever you should decide being at the table. I can promise you that.
So like whatever the latest set of plans, and I understand they're always in flux, whatever the latest set of plans now, they do include the sculpture park exactly as it is now?
As it is right now, yes. What I really wanted to be able to do is the little road that comes off of there is a great place for staging things. But if it's got traffic on it, it's not a great place for anything other than traffic. And that's why we focused on that. I can see that as where we would line up food trucks if we had a food truck event. I can see that as a place we would set up stages or other ways of serving the activity space, which I see is between the road and what we're calling Main Street to the south. So, yeah, I mean, as it stands right now, we don't plan to change it. We haven't even started discussions with Great Rivers Greenway on any kind of a detailed basis. At some point, we'd like to make the connection with Lorraine Davis Park and come up this way and get that path going toward the trailhead up at in Kirkwood. But those, we would hope that you'd want to bring people through the sculpture park or near it, or a way to get it for sure.
I think possibly it's the model that causes the discrepancies. That the model that you have for this development is not true to form. It's just an idea, and people jump to the conclusions that this is what it's going to be.
Yeah, and I apologize for that. We were not focused on any of those details. We were focused primarily on getting an idea of the scale of the buildings and looking for ways to change the facades along the street. So, at the end of the day, rather than have a big, massive building, what we wanted to look and feel like is a European street where you've got multiple facades up and down the street, even though they might be part of the same development. So it feels like Webster. Webster has lots of little different architecture as you go up and down the streets. That's sort of the feeling we're going for on the development itself.
So you mentioned that you might think about moving it, or that would be a sort of option that you would clear with everybody. Were you going to move both parts of it then? You would consider the whole sculpture park, or you're simply focused on that one?
Right. So right now that area is immediately adjacent to the development. And so we're going to have to protect it, address it, whatever, whether it stays exactly as it is or morphs into something different. If you'd like us to expand the plans to include something else, we're happy to do that. We don't want to be disrespectful of any of the work that's been done, but we do think that we can improve the way the art is presented, not necessarily there, but throughout our entire development. We expect to have a very healthy art component and places for lots of it.
What do you plan on doing with the Shady Creek? Some of it looks like it's being lost within the development.
Well, it's really not. I mean, Shady Creek right now, and I don't know if you've walked it recently, I walk it often. It's really just a drainage ditch with lots of debris and rock and rubble and at the bottom. And we've reached out to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. I'd like to find a way to make Shady Creek a natural environment that we can create bottoms and have living plant life and animal life in the bottom of it, knowing all well that when we have these big rains, it has to be able to recover from that. I mean, it's the intensity of the storms that we get that create some of those problems. And right now there really isn't any river banks or things like that could be nice and enjoyable. Our plan is to change that. We have to get the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers approval. We would actually lower the bottom of the creek from where it is today. And then we'd have to improve the structures that go through it. In particular, the one that goes under Gore, it's too narrow and has an angle on it that creates problems. But our intent is to make that a beautiful natural amenity to the development.
So Larry, where are we in this process at this point? I know these are preliminary sketches.
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt. But so we to design those is a very expensive proposition. And we're looking for guidance from city leadership that they would embrace the project that's needed to pay for all of that. And so we started the zoning process. And if we feel like the support is there to do what we're asking the city to do, and in some respect, we thought the city was asking us to do, then we can sit down and have meetings and really do some detailed work. But at this point, I'm not even sure we have a development that the city council would approve, honestly. I'm hopeful, and we're working hard on that part, and we're going through the hard work of development strategies, doing the cost benefit analysis and things like that, so that city council can make an intelligent decision. They're just now getting the information they need to know whether this is a good thing for the city going forward, at least from a third party standpoint, notwithstanding what we believe. And then as we go through these steps, to the extent we're getting some support, then we'll sit down and drill down on details. And those details will then make their way into a redevelopment agreement that will require us to do the things that are outlined in there.
It sounds like this is more like wishful thinking and there are no definite plans.
Well, I don't agree with that at all. But if you don't know what you're allowed to build, you can't design what you're building. So I can't, if you told me I had a free palette to build what I wanted, I would give you exact definitive plans instantly. But I don't have that. I don't even have an approval. So if you're not approved to do something, how do you make a definitive plan?
Larry, I wanted to say we appreciate, as an arts commission, your attention to the arts in the development.
Mhm.
And we know that's the minutia of this overall plan. So eventually those details will be worked out. But to be able to incorporate an amphitheater and public work in throughout the development sounds very promising. And I'm sure we can all say we support those goals, but we understand that you have a lot to work through, before we figure out all the full details.
And so I will just tell you, I mean, I've done a lot of projects and almost every one of them has a significant art component to it. And while the art component is thought about up front, more often than not, what we do is we create spaces for it. And then we have people come in and help us figure out what wants to go there. The building I finished in Richmond, Virginia recently, the artist, did a painting of the James River. We sent it off to Germany, where they created a mosaic, and then we put the mosaic on the wall, and then he created this very interesting thing that was representative of a boat or a ship out of stainless steel, which was manufactured here in St. Louis. But we created a place for that, which is what we'll do here. And then the art filled in the places based on what either artists or pieces that we found worked. And we've got a pretty good track record of doing that around the country.
Well, it seems like many of us have just jumped to conclusions that really aren't true. And that's been the problem. So, it's all hearsay, what we thought was going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I would hope, I'm happy to talk to all of you, any one of you, but I would hope you have my contact information. I would encourage you to reach out and just call or ask questions. We also have other Webster Groves residents on our team, Liz Austin, Joel Oliver, they'll make themselves available too. We all are focused on creating an excellent development for Webster Groves and something that we believe will be really beneficial to the community in many, many different levels. Arts is just one of them. But I think more importantly for us, we're looking at where is Webster going to be 20 and 30 years from now? What are things that people who live in Webster would like that they don't have today, certain living arrangements, or people who'd like to come to Webster that isn't really available. And we also believe that we can help the local businesses by creating enough economic energy for them to survive in a meaningful way. And that's really what our plan revolves around. And when you create environments like that with the space for people to interact and live at a pedestrian level, we're focused on the pedestrian experience, it'll be great. I mean, little things like the sidewalk widths will be such that you can literally have multiple outdoor restaurants along the sidewalks between the buildings and the street. Lots of outdoor parking that not only provide street parking for the development, but also provide parking for Old Webster, which we don't have today. If you really focus on those components, you'll create an environment that people want to come to and use. And that's really what we want to do.
Larry, within your proposal, you had a map of some preserved areas, and it included the church and the historic property at the corner of Pacific and Gore,
Yes.
as well as some utility, I guess, right in the center of the development. Is there a way to identify the sculpture garden as a preserved or semi-preserved area then, to rest assured that through the development, that it may
If
not be
that's what,
reflected?
if that's what you would like and the city would like it, we can do that. Yes, it's important that, you know, we're going through a process with city leadership. I assume they preserve the sculpture garden. We would be open to that idea, yes, if that's something that's really important to do. We'd just like to make sure it's something that people can use in conjunction with the development at the same time. And I hope that's something you would want.
But understanding there may be modifications required based on the development, but at least, you know, identifying it is that the development is at least looking at leaving some of it, or if not all of it, intact. That would be.
Yeah, so if you're talking about, you know, in my vision, all of the gathering area, even though we'll have to operate it and maintain it, is really public space. It's not private space. That's our goal. And that would include the sculpture garden, which I assume is just right of way that happens to be designated as a sculpture garden. I didn't see any legal documents that said this is a sculpture garden of record anywhere. So I'm assuming that's the case. City council said, hey, this is great, go put it there. And yeah, we would do much the same. If you're looking for assurances that it won't be removed, we can absolutely do that. We're not going to buy it. We're looking at it as an expansion of the amenity area. And I believe that, you know, public spaces should be preserved.
Boy, Don, I think that was a really good point. I think that the way you presented it, you know, puts it in the position that I feel it should be, you know, because it's like, you know, that was a big step forward for us, the city, to build that and make it. And so to see, you know, that it could be, you know, possibly rolled into some other thing has been a little bit of a stickler point for me. So I'm for that concept.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way. I mean, and especially one aspect of it, the symmetry, which is kind of important, the way this
Yes.
presents in the city. And I think the commission is very committed to this area. It was really a key achievement, and we would like to see it stay intact.
Well, does anybody have any other questions for Larry? Are there any other? Anything else? Larry, do you have any
No,
thoughts?
I hear what you're saying, and I appreciate that. We'll share this conversation with the rest of our team. We'll make sure that what your concerns are respected. We don't in any way want any of that to go away. We want to expand it and make it better. And I'm not exactly sure all the things that go in. We're going to go through an approval process with the city, and we'll be asked to do lots of different things. We'll need to incorporate lots of different aspects into our final plan. But I think giving you the comfort that it'll be preserved in some way, absolutely, we can do that.
Great.
Well, Larry, thank you so much for joining us this morning and for clearing those issues up for us.
You have my phone number and contact information, I assume, because I got an email and all that. So, I mean, if anything comes up that gives you any concern, don't hesitate to pick up the phone or send me an email. Although I would rather you pick up the phone. I get so many emails, I miss half of them anymore. It's awful. I hate to say it, but it's true. And so, but enjoy your day. And if you have anything for me, let me know. And if you need me to get on a call again, happy to do it. Don't know how often you meet, but I'm happy to show up. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so
All righty.
much.
Have a great day, everybody.
All righty.
Bye.
Take care.
Good morning, everybody. I'm sorry I was a little late and came in the middle of that.
Morning, John.
Well, that's about as reassured, I think, as you can expect to be. I mean,
Yeah.
he seemed to be quite clear on if we don't want to move the sculpture garden, he won't move it. I mean, that's what it
Right.
sounded like to me.
It just sounds like there are no real plans. It's just an idea.
Well,
I didn't realize it was so unformed at this point.
Well, you can see he doesn't want to give up flexibility, and obviously that idea about the food trucks and places to do things. But I thought Don's idea was great, because yes, there are other places that have been designated sort of hands off. So we would like that for the sculpture park.
Yeah.
And not to restrict them, but maybe if it's a preserved area and then with the qualification that he comes through Arts Commission to make changes, that would be, I think, extremely helpful. But Jerry and Jennifer, isn't this a city? Is that a city park officially? It's a city property, right?
Yeah, I mean, as far as I know, it's a part, I don't know if it's still, we've designated it a park.
Right.
So,
Maintained
don't
through the Parks
know.
Department.
yeah, I mean, the Parks Department has it on their page as a park, so I don't know what that would entail. That's an interesting thing that was brought up.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought of the notion that parks are just right of ways.
Yeah.
That was a little scary the way he said there's nothing official, but this has to
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sculpture Park. So yeah, a little worries.
Yeah, I could see us all chaining ourselves to the sculpture down there, you know, one big long, I think we need about an 80-foot chain to do us all.
I'm sure he knows full well the underlying legality of that area. He's a major developer. He would not have done this without understanding that.
Right. Where is he based?
In Brentwood. His office is in Brentwood.
Uh-huh.
But he said he also contributed to the sculpture park.
Yes. Yes, Lauren, I think, can confirm
Yeah.
that he along with Lauren and Peter bought the eggs.
Okay.
Yeah, I like how he said, my wife and her friend.
Yeah.
It's like, do not remember who I am.
Who happens to be on the Arts Commission.
That's right.
I did look at you when that happened, but you know.
Well, I think he's been through a lot of political things through his career, so.
All right, well, is there further discussion on this? Do we feel pretty okay at this point?
Yeah, I think with what he said, and it's recorded, you know, it moves us into the same realm as the church and anything else that's, you know.
No, it really doesn't. I mean, because we are an arts commission, and if the city council would decide that this is, I don't know, right of way that can go into the project, they may hear from us, but that's not our total decision.
And at the end, he just said it will be preserved in some way, which
Yeah.
Yeah, he left himself some leeway on that.
He left.
It felt
lot
that
of-
he just was like leaving everything open. It didn't really feel like you could like hold him to a certain word, because he's just kind of, he's actually trying to say we're still trying to figure things out. That's all I can think from what he said.
Yeah. Well, maybe we should stay tuned as things develop. I think I've kind of forgotten. I thought they were going before the zoning people
they're before Planning Commission next Monday.
next Monday.
Seven.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's coming up pretty soon. So maybe we should just sort of check back after that and see, just kind of stay.
Yeah, we can check back, and if anybody wants to watch that meeting, webstergroves.org/teleconference will have the link to it.
Patrick, were you saying something?
Yeah, my mute was on, sorry. He did say one thing that disturbed me a little bit, that sort of set off a little red flag, was that they will allocate spaces for art and then let the community decide what kind of art would go there. Just so whatever happens is we don't have a developer sort of leading where art would go and making it happen in sort of an inorganic way. Like, here's the art space over here, right next to the street that looks like it's old, that we're just gonna, I think, have to keep on insisting that we have a voice in this, so that they can't say, well, we've got designated art spaces, but maybe that's, maybe we want a voice in that as well. We don't want a developer determining what art in Webster Groves looks like or where it goes.
Yeah.
He said that a group of people help him decide, but he didn't define who that group is or individual. That should be us, right?
Yeah. Or we should be among that group, I would
Right,
think.
among it.
So there's a long way to go yet. The city has yet to receive our financial analysis. So we still do not have the information about the costs and benefits, how much TIF he is going to ask for, how much public incentive he will be asking for. None of that do we have yet. And when it goes through the zoning commission, that's one aspect of it. The other aspect is really understanding the financial implications of all of this for the city. And so it's just been real slow, and we'll see what happens when that comes through.
Is part of that analysis, Jerry, also what kind of effect that might have on existing businesses?
Now, that one will have much more of an effect on how it impacts the city in terms of revenues and costs, and that part of it, as well as the financial part of what he will be asking for.
Okay, thanks.
Because this is going to even impact the old Webster Business District. That's going to be competition for them.
Well, it's primarily apartment buildings, so I don't know. I mean, as it stands now, it's just apartment buildings. I think maybe 700 apartments. They anticipate like 1,700 residents moving in there. So that's basically, I think, what they're proposing. But again, it hasn't gone through the zoning commission yet, and we have not seen the pro forma for what they are actually requesting in terms of apartments versus businesses. It's a lot up in the air,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think this-
including 8-story buildings up in the
Yes.
air.
Way up in the air. All right, well, let's just sort of keep abreast of what happens as we move forward on that. We'll keep checking back in and just
Mhm.
see how much of a voice we can have in guiding.
I don't know yet.
Do you think that am I on mute? No. Do you think that we should make sure that someone from the Arts Commission is always present at every meeting that they have from now on? Just so that we can make sure that we hear exactly what's happening, especially with the sculpture garden. I mean, maybe we should assign somebody to make sure that they're at each meeting. I mean, I know Jerry's there, but somebody else from the Arts Commission as well.
Yeah, that would be good.
And then we can take notes and share them with each other with each monthly meeting.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Well, are they all Zoom now? I mean, can we,
They are, everything's still available to the public by Zoom.
okay. So can we, how do we go about getting a schedule and I guess.
So right
let people
now, Jerry,
sign
correct
up?
me if I'm wrong, it would just be Plan Commission, right?
Right, for right now, it's planning commission on June the 7th. It's the first
Yeah.
meeting of the planning.
It's the first
commission.
Monday of the month at 7:00.
And it's anticipated that that will take several months.
Yeah.
That they will not just have one meeting and that will
No.
be that. We anticipate it'll be the fall before it goes through the zoning commission. Whatever the zoning commission decides, then it goes to council. In the meantime, somewhere along the way, we're going to get this financial report from Development Strategies. And when that becomes public, we can share that with the Arts Commission also. That'll be an incredibly important document.
Yeah.
What time is that planning commission meeting?
7:00.
PM,
7?
Yes, PM.
7 PM.
How do we get signed up to?
You can just go to webstergroves.org/teleconference and the Zoom link will be there. It's not there right now because I don't know if I have it yet, but it'll be updated. I update those to have all the meetings on there.
Yeah,
So do we have a couple folks who are thinking of joining that? Do we have, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I can go. I don't know if every Monday, I mean, every time, but I'd like to see it.
I mean, any of you can watch because you wouldn't be attendees. You'd just be, or
No,
you wouldn't be
okay.
analysts. You'd just be attendees. So whomever wants to go may certainly attend.
Can we check in with each other before each meeting to make sure someone's going to be there
Mhm.
somehow? Just because I don't want to sound negative, but the way he described us as a thoroughfare really bothered me.
Yeah. I
And
think,
I-
he was-
I
I
mean,
think he's referring to that road, the little triangular road that is going to be gone, and that's going to be a walkway. That's what I thought he was referring to, as opposed to just tearing up the sculpture garden for more. You'd have that whole road,
Well, what bothered me is from the get-go, his first statement was not, I mean, he should recognize who we are. And I guess good politics would have been a clear statement that we'll try everything we can do to keep it intact. Instead, he started talking about how important art is. And I had visions of him already thinking about pieces in the sculpture garden that he could place elsewhere in his development. I mean, it just sounded very slippery to me. So I agree with you, Lauren. I'm not convinced. He said a lot of things, but nothing is binding of what he said.
I wasn't crazy about him talking about that, an area where you can park the food trucks to serve
Right.
the events
yeah.
that are happening. So, it sounded like he was thinking of that as sort of the staging area for the exciting things that are going to be happening there.
And porta potties,
Yeah. It's gonna be a
Porta
really,
potty alley.
could be a really nice place for porta potties though.
we
We
could
do
get
not
it
want
all
a
in
street
different
called
colors, Instead of just the solid green, could we have different colors?
Oh my God.
We can paint them.
Yeah,
A place to
Or
park.
Yeah.
Yes.
mauve and fuchsia, and Marilyn could help us select the colors that would.
It
I
just,
like
I was
that.
just checking my email because I know I've been talking with the director of planning about where to store all of our information for plan commission, because when things come to council, as Jerry can attest, like it gets very voluminous and everything's huge and honestly almost impossible to download even. So we're gonna have a dedicated area in the document center, and then we'll have links to it on the redevelopment page. So I can make sure that you guys know where all that is. And I'm guessing we'll probably be putting the recordings up for all the plan commission meetings also. So in case you cannot be there, that's helpful. But also, I don't think it's a bad idea to actually attend because, I don't know who's paying attention to who's attending or things like that if we always have presence there. What do you think, Jerry?
Yeah, I think we'll start out with the first meeting and see how things work, because you'll have a month before the second meeting. And in between, we might hopefully have some additional information, that financial information. And we'll see where it all goes. We'll see where it goes.
Well, if a couple of folks are up for just observing on Monday, and then we'll just see where it goes. The next first Monday winds up being sort of in the middle of the 4th of July weekend.
They actually have that one is on so the 5th is the first Monday, right?
Yeah, something like
Yeah,
that.
so it's the 12th next week.
Yeah. So that will actually be after our next meeting again next month. So we can sort of regroup at our next meeting and see if people are interested in attending virtually that next meeting. So does that sound like a way to move forward?
Yeah, it'll be a good time for an update because we'll see what happens. There could be a lot of activity through July, through this month, and we'll see.
it's like the Mills properties when we used to have all those problems on Lockwood and ended up that it was all bypassed. This could happen again.
Yeah.
But it doesn't happen.
All right. So is there anything else on Douglas Hill? Does anybody else want to jump in? All right. So Jennifer, I'm sorry, we jumped right over the minutes. Are we
That's
gonna?
okay, but I believe Walter and Margot are on
Oh.
the attendees. If we-
Oh, excellent. Well, so in fact, let's just jump ahead then to the.
Yeah, I'll let them talk, or I'll
Sorry,
make them
I didn't-
panelists.
Actually didn't know they were in the wings.
There we go.
Hi.
Hello.
Morning.
I apologize. I didn't realize you guys were waiting on us.
No, we
No,
were
it's
just
okay.
gonna listen in. We didn't know if you guys needed, if anyone had any questions for us, or if we, we just thought we would just log in and say hello.
Yes, well,
Yeah.
hello. I think everybody has met Margot and Walter, who are organizing the Burr Oak Baroque Festival. So in the intervening time period, Patrick and Jan and Jerry and I got together with Margot and Walter and walked around in the park and studied the layout of things. And this is going to be fabulous. This is going to be a fabulous, fabulous evening. So so Margot and Walter, I don't know if you guys have something you want to update us on, or?
Well, mainly not so much infrastructure things, but we have made progress on the talent. We've got some local dancers that we have spoken with and who are going to be performing from Webster University. So one of the big changes is that we've integrated more local talent into the roster, in addition to Early Music Missouri. So that's that part. We don't have the artwork quite finished. This week, we will finish our postcards and start distributing them. We need to know from you all, or somebody, probably the Parks Department. I guess it's not you all, but we're finishing up the design of the posters, all the PR related stuff, the design, the graphics. That's all going to be done this week. I'm sorry, we're just not ready for it. I'm finishing up another project in Atlanta. So,
But there was a nice little article in the community day in the Webster Kirkwood Times. So we were really, thanks. Barry, for-
Yeah, very nice.
yeah. And I will say that community, the Webster, what is it? The Community Day, not the
Yeah.
Community Days, but
the community news.
the community.
Webster Kirkwood Times.
Yeah, the community calendar or whatever is going to happen this summer has inspired a lot of talk. People, we're every now and then even since that article, I have people coming up our street, which is Poplar and Oak, and there are folks from the other side of the park, Denver, Lee, in that area, Iona, and or Iola, I can't remember the name of it. And they were saying, well, we walked over here to take a stroll to figure out where the concert's going to be. So, hi, Walter. They know me from the picture that was in the paper. They don't really know me. So, I mean, because of the events that Margot and I have done in the past, I'm just going to use a little, at least the music industry word here, is that the feel is that it's got good buzz right now. There's a good buzz. I think I feel like the turnout and the interest in it is positive so far, but but we're still early, but getting ready to approach getting towards the home stretch. But go ahead.
So,
Maura.
yeah, I mean, I think that's it. So.
And Margot, I apologize. I did get the Google documents that you sent, and
Yeah.
and I said, yes, I'll click on that, and I did. But I did receive them, and yeah, so Margot has put together, I believe there's some sign-up sheets involved in that. So if everybody can be sort of clearing your schedule for some time to help with some setup, some wayfinding. We may need a lot of people out there with flashlights to help folks get around. So yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I will say also that with the recent clearing of the invasive honeysuckle, we cleared out an area at the very top of the hill that was relatively flat. So we're hoping that if there's anyone who has a concern with mobility issues, wheelchairs, that area is much more accessible now. At the very, very top of the hill, there's a flat area that I personally went out and cleared the honeysuckle for during that big recent removal around Shady Creek there. But it was, so there's plenty of space. In the next couple of weeks, I'm going on a video trip for a week down in Georgia to collect some images. But when I get back, I'm going to build a little mock platform. Schnarr's Hardware has agreed to donate some crates so that I can build a small platform. I'm not going to make a big deal out of it, but if there are 3 or 4 people who are in wheelchairs and they need, a secure space, we'll put it up at the top of the hill, and that'll be it. And so Schnarr's has been nice enough to help me secure that area for the wheelchairs, if it's even needed. I just want to have it there just in case. So
No, that's great.
yeah.
Have we had any contact with the police yet? Because I'm thinking, your little street there, we should block that off for disabled parking only. And that's an area where we could get a volunteer to help. I think, speaking to the rest of the Arts Commission, we're really going to need some volunteers. We are going to need volunteers that day and that evening. And I'm hoping that everybody on the commission can sign up for something.
Sure.
And-
Yeah.
And bring a friend.
Yeah.
Well, I know in the past, the concert that Patrick and Jerry and everyone put together at the next to City Hall last year was successful. And, for us to wear our name tags and potentially get T-shirts and things like that as an arts commission, since we are considered one of the official sponsors, I believe, it would be great to get full participation and have everybody marked in some way
Yeah.
to promote the arts.
Something
commission.
for us to think about.
Yeah,
Well, we all have our City of the Arts t-shirts, right? Just wear our City of the
those
Arts.
could work.
All right. Well, other questions then? Margot and Walter, anything else that we need to?
Can you remind me when the date is?
July 16th.
Okay.
The Friday night.
Friday night. And I think we were thinking, do we wind up saying what, 7 to 9?
7:30 to 9:30
7:30 to 9:30.
with the option to maybe go to 10, but I think we'll be able to stay within the 2 hours.
Yeah. All right. Other questions? Anything? All right.
I don't think so.
Well, thank
No,
you. guys.
there's still, we're like I said, we're just getting ready to amp up the postcards and the posters, and all that's going to happen this week. So
Yeah.
sorry to
We'll
not
start
have
getting
it
it.
ready.
We'll
Yeah.
we'll start getting that around all the neighborhood, and I mean the downtown
The
business
vendors.
areas.
Yeah.
Yep. Great. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
for all
Thank you.
your
Thank
support.
you.
Awesome, awesome.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Okay. So I feel like we're actually not going to be approving the minutes this week.
Yeah.
Move that we approve the minutes.
Every time I've mentioned them, something else has happened.
I second it.
Wait, I have one comment on the minutes.
Oh,
Yes.
Don's actually read them.
How were they,
Well,
Don?
Beth,
How was
You
it?
like them?
yeah, they
Great.
look great. They look
No,
great.
they weren't
That's
great.
good enough for me.
I'll be the first to tell you, they're not great.
Well,
No,
with-
no typos, though. There was no typos.
I thought that Beth gave a terrific update on the walking tour, and I didn't see that mentioned.
I think that's probably the part where I was having computer issues.
Oh,
I
yeah.
wasn't there.
It was. That was the first thing we discussed.
I also wasn't there for the approval of the minutes. So yeah, the last one.
But it's not, I mean, if we want to mention the walking tour and Beth's
Yeah.
progress, but
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, listen, do we actually want
Beth-
to
Beth is
seriously
muted.
table that? I
Yeah.
mean, we can approve them in July and everybody can have a chance to look at
And
them.
I can update them in July.
We can add the thing about the walking tour.
Yes.
And
I think
actually, guys,
that's-
I have to jump off quick because I have to leave a little early to take my child somewhere. But Jennifer, I did just send you an email update on the walking tour, which isn't a huge update, but we're just kind of, I'm continuing to plug away. And I did not set up a subcommittee meeting last month, but look for an invitation this month if you're interested. I think Don and maybe we volunteered Judy, if you want to be a part of that.
Alex had also volunteered.
Yeah, so that'll be coming soon, and there's a couple pieces of information I still need, but basically it's just kind of plugging away, so.
Awesome. Thank you, Beth.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. All right, so we do have another new piece of business then, which has to do with some concerts that Michael Silverman would like to do in Glen Park. And I don't know, Jerry, do you want to talk about this, or do we have?
It's Patrick, let Patrick.
Sorry, it's Patrick. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I contacted I contacted Judy over there at the Mason Hall, and the date that they have open is August 28th. They would love to work with us, and and actually one of the things I was planning to do late last week, and I'm going to do it after this meeting, is contact you and Jerry and Mike and pick a date. They're wildly open for meetings almost any day of the week. And I'm kind of thinking of maybe looking at the week of June 7th in the morning and going over there and talking to them. And kind of hammer out the details. But it looks to me like it's just a complete go, nothing standing in the way.
Okay.
And Mike generously, we told him that we had no budget for this. As far as we know, we can look into it and see if in fact we do have some money to be able to put into this. But for him, that was really no concern. And as he has in the past, not every time, but he has for some of these concerts in the past, he'll pick up the expenses for like the band, the stage, things like that. So this looks pretty much slam dunk.
So hang on, Patrick, we may be talking about two different things
We are.
because, okay.
The Piano Fest.
So the Glen Park concert suggestion, Mike had asked if we as an arts commission would be willing to sponsor a couple of concerts that he would like to give in Glen Park, which is that little sort of pocket park right next to his house. If we agree to sponsor, he will cover all the expenses. He's handling getting the acts and all that, but then he can use the city park. And so Scott Davis said, well, if we were willing to sponsor and support this, then it becomes our production that he's running in Glen Park. And I personally think that's a no-brainer. I'm hugely.
I'm sorry, you're right. I did get those two mixed up.
But then in addition, it sounds like we're gonna maybe try to do another concert with Mike that we can do at the Masons. So do we want to start with maybe sponsoring the ones in Glen Park? Are we okay with that?
It sounds to be, there seems to be no downside to us getting on board with that.
These are 3 one-hour concerts. One was classical, one is jazz, and one is a tribute to Chick Corea. And they're 1-hour concerts that Mike would put on in that little park called Glen Park. And that's what they're asking us to just put our name on. I think it's kind of cool. It gets us really a lot of music support between that and the Bro concert, and if the Piano Fest, which is what Patrick is talking about in August, our name is on a lot of music this summer.
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer.
And that was the plan a couple of years ago,
Yeah.
to get on board with other people who were doing exciting things and,
And take credit for them.
I was trying to think of some other way to say that. Yeah.
Okay, so first of all,
Can we decide to do that then? Can we just all say aye?
can I have, I guess, a motion then for the Glen Park concerts? Are we?
Have the motion for Glen Park concert.
So we're going to sponsor the Glen Park Jan 2nd. Favor,
Second.
are there any opposed? Other discussion? Okay,
I
So
just
we'll
have a
do that.
question.
yes.
I'm sorry, I don't know where Glen Park is. Where is
I
that?
don't either.
It's
Right
a
there at Newport and Kirkham.
little tiny park that.
It's a little tiny
Or the
park.
light is at Newport and Kirkham. You can see
Newport
like the little canopy.
There are a couple of little stone posts there. It's real easy to drive by and practically miss it.
Yeah,
It's where Mike put in all that really cool playground equipment a couple years back, where that big climbing structure is and everything.
But if you were to take Newport down to Kirkham, it would be right there at the corner.
Okay,
just across Shady Creek.
thank you.
Okay. Okay, so that's the Glen Park concerts now. Patrick, the piano festival in
I
August.
already talked
Okay.
way too much about that.
Do we need to do something official about that? Should we officially or just
Yeah,
say,
let's officially say that that's a cool idea.
okay, officially get a motion that that's a cool idea?
Hands up.
More than it's.
Second.
Enter that in the minutes, Jennifer. Right.
Okay, who made that motion?
I
I think
did.
Don, I think
Okay.
Don made that
I'm-
motion.
I'm with it.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Seriously, Patrick, I guess, yes, let's scope out locations. Let's talk about some details on that. And then in our July meeting, maybe we can come back.
Yeah,
and-
we're gonna do the same thing we've done in the past. We're gonna do it in the front yard of the Mason Hall. They might do bratwursts and ice cream, as in the past if they want. We will have porta potties, we'll arrange for trash. We'll put up some signs and, do what we did in the way of, PR. And, like we've done this a couple of times already. So we kind of know the drill. So, yeah. So if we have the approval, then we can put some signs up from and just associate the name of the Arts Commission with this as well. And I think it's called probably the second annual piano festival.
Cool. All right, other comments on that? Nope. All right, we will look forward to hearing more.
Do we have a calendar of the different for these festivals that we're having?
The city is starting, I've been talking to our PR person and we're going to put something together because there's so much music over the summer. And it kicks off with the summer street dance on June the 19th, I think it is, whatever that Saturday night is. And there are just festivals all over the place. So we're putting something together.
Definitely.
Rob, in answer to your question, though, I'm not sure we have precise dates. Did Mike give us dates for the Glen
I
Park?
don't think he's gotten quite that far.
So I think the dates at this point, we just needed to be sure we can move forward and we'll get some actual dates on a calendar and let people know. So. Okay. Unfortunately, I finally connected that what Beth was saying was that she had to go.
Yes.
So I failed to let her give us an update on the walking tour. Jennifer, is there anything?
She said there wasn't much. It's just that she didn't get a chance to get a subcommittee together, but she's going to this month. So.
All right. Well, we will look forward to hearing more about that. And I don't know, do we have any updates on the signage? Do we have?
I have not gone through that stuff and gotten that. So I need to get the stuff together that John had sent and look at that stuff. So can we put that off on next month again?
Sure.
All right.
Works for me. Are there any other things that we need to? You know what? I actually had one, and sorry, Judy, I did see your hand go up. We may have the same idea in mind. I don't know. Now that all of a sudden COVID is over, are we going to get back to a Lifetime Achievement Award? Like, where did we leave that finally?
I don't know what's in the budget. Jerry, do you know if the budget public hearing is tonight?
I have
Quick
no
at
clue.
it.
I mean, I know we requested it. I'm just not sure. I need to check and see what's there and what might be, if anything got cut.
Well, it seems like we had postponed last year's because, and it was Stephen Wolf,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So do we want to pick that back up again at some?
Well, we notified him, didn't we, that he won?
Yes, somebody had talked to him.
Yeah, I think that'd be our next one to do, probably.
Yeah.
And then do we, I mean, we would have one presumably for 2021? Are we?
I don't know if we're doubling up or if we'll,
You know, I think it's,
Well, 'cause
I think it's
technically
okay to just have a gap and for 1 year.
yeah.
I mean, if you look at like 1943 and 44, you know.
Oh
I
my
mean,
gosh.
You know, I mean, there are simply gaps.
Yes.
Acknowledging that something historic happened. So I think it would
You
be.
can have
a-
an asterisk right
The
there.
year with the asterisk, yes.
What was it last one? 2019, was it? 2019?
Yes,
So
it was
then-
2019 because it was Mary Engelbright and we wound up doing it.
We did it in
early
2020.
2020, but it was the 2019.
So then we'll have a 2019, no 2020, and maybe 2021. I mean, I think that's okay rather than going to the trouble of doubling it up or
Yeah.
doing something awkward.
Right.
I mean, it acknowledges, we're gonna see a lot of that, I think.
And I would suggest maybe we think of doing it outside, doing it rather than waiting in the fall for an inside event, or,
Would we be looking at this fall, like September, October?
well, I'm
Is it-
just, having read, that these variants are still out there, and someone told me that at her workplace, they are gearing up for a spike in October, kind of, who knows? But it just worries me. If we could do an outdoor event, I think people would feel very comfortable with that, and it would be nice.
I think it'd be cool.
Yeah.
You take a little chance with the weather, but I mean,
Yeah, it's always.
I mean, sometimes you just have to do that.
Well, does somebody know, Stephen? Is somebody have the kind of relationship to just check with him and see if he's interested in having a ceremony, and if so, when he would be available?
How do you get a hold of him?
I
about it?
think before we do that, and Jerry, tell me if I'm on the wrong track here, but I think we need to, I don't think we've had any official guidance from the city on like what we're doing event wise and things like that.
Right.
So I would feel more comfortable if we hold off just a little bit until we get some notion of whether or not we're really going back into doing things like that.
It's also Mark Bernstein, who was the managing director. Mark and Stephen were the two who ran the rep. He's retiring at the end of this year. And I'm wondering if there's an opportunity to acknowledge his retirement and the lifetime achievement at the same time. And maybe they're going to have something at Webster University or at the rep to acknowledge Mark. And we can just sort of slide in and provide our lifetime achievement award at the same time.
That sounds like a good idea.
Yep.
Because then we wouldn't, I don't know how we do that, but it's
Yeah.
a possibility to think about.
Yeah, it's the one guy's party. We're going to give the other guy the award. We have to.
Well, then we
Yeah,
acknowledge both
yeah,
of
I
them.
love
Yeah.
my retirement party. A honored Stephen Wolf.
Yeah, that's true too. That's not very cool. Sorry.
No, but to Jennifer's point, I think it's a good point. If we don't know for sure
Yeah.
what our policy is, but let's keep that on the agenda, because if we
Yeah.
want to do something sort of August, September, I mean, it's already June. Our next meeting is July. Yeah. So let's keep that. And
that
I'm
on
sorry,
the
Judy, I
agenda.
interrupted you. You had something you wanted to talk about.
No, I just wanted to find out if we've been in touch with Catherine Muggle at all about the repairs to the bird.
I have not. I have to admit, everything's kind of been triage around here. So, but yes, I will get that back on my calendar.
All right, is there anything else? Any other? I do just have two things from Webster Arts, if anybody wants to add them to their calendar. We are going to do a happy hour at Big Sky on June the 17th. They're just doing a special menu for us in the gallery and on their wine patio around in the back. So just come, get a glass of wine, have a snack, and a portion of the proceeds will come back to Webster Arts.
Where is
And
that?
there's an opening for our summer series, which is going to be Food for Thought. It's also going to be in Old Orchard Gallery. We're actually doing an in-person opening with, oh my goodness, wine and everything on June the 29th. And then we will be doing a series of workshops around that based on food and food in the arts and art with food. I think Marilyn's going to do a still life painting workshop with some yummy treats.
What's the date of
stay
that?
tuned. All of that. Sorry, Rob?
What is the date of that?
So the opening is June 29th and the workshops then are scattered through June into July. So there'll be a calendar available on the Webster Arts website.
So it's the June 17th. Is that a fundraising event?
Yes, it's
And-
just come to Big Sky. There, like I said, they're doing a special menu. You can order off the menu, get a glass of wine, mill
Is
around.
it just for us or is it other people are invited?
It's open to the public. We'll just be getting a portion of the proceeds back to Webster Arts.
And what is
So-
it called again?
It's at Big Sky.
Oh, is there a name of the event?
Sip and dip.
Sip and
yes.
dip, yeah.
It's sip and dip.
Go with that. No, I don't think there is actually. It's a.
No,
if
it
you come out
is.
and
The
support
the
Webster Arts,
news, the newsletter is coming out today.
There
And
we
it's called Sip and Dip.
Sip and dip. There we
And we're-
go. Okay.
And it's at what time?
is that?
So it's in the late afternoon, evening. It's a happy hour thing. I believe we said 4 to 6.
Katie, we should send the newsletter out, which is coming out today, forward it to everybody on the Arts Commission, and then they'll have all the details.
There
Thank you.
All right. Yes, we will do that.
I just had one thing as a amount of, I guess, thought, or, we've mentioned different times, like great places for our, for our arts, our art place. And is there anything happening with the old Subaru dealership? I see the signs up there now, but is there anything that's going to open there? Boy, that would be a great place for for our art center.
Yeah.
Because it's got all those big windows and it's,
Isn't it gone?
Going to be gone.
Going to be gone?
oh, it's going down?
It's going down.
Oh,
Which is too bad, because you're right, John. Those are fantastic windows.
There's
Oh, yeah,
a,
the whole place would be just, ideal. But
there's an interest in building some mixed use there with apartments and retail.
well, that'll be nice too.
Probably a little more revenue for the city than an arts.
Well, I don't know. I just hope they get more condos than just all apartments as we go forward.
Yeah, I hope so too.
You just get a better sense of ownership, I think.
Right. Any other comments?
Next meeting date would be July 6th. I don't know if that's problematic,
Zoom, we're still Zooming, so
as far as I know.
haven't heard otherwise.
I have not heard otherwise.
So good for everybody, July
Okay.
6th?
Yep.
All right.
All right.
Awesome.
Thank you
Right.
very much.
Nothing
See ya.
else. I will see you all later.
So,
Guys, thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.